Hi guys, good evening and welcome to another Money Spaces with me. My name is Kalu Aja, and this is the Let's Talk About series that we do on Twitter every weekend. Talk about money, the economy, finance. We try to also make it personal. How does it affect you, your personal budget, your personal wallet? Bring all that in to you. That's what we try to do every weekend. So yeah, good to have you guys all here. Thank you so much. So just to go, this week we're going to talk about credit, right? Credit cards, mortgages, personal loans. For the business, for the personal side, we're going to try to do that. I'll do a brief talk, and if you guys have questions, really, let's just do it. We weren't supposed to have a spaces this weekend. This was supposed to be the elections weekend, but it was postponed. So we said, hey, let's come together and just try to meet again and talk about money, right? So that's what we're doing this weekend. We're going to talk about credit. Just a few housekeeping. We did start this whole year talking about the financial health check. I gave you guys exercise to do to track your budgets and your spending and all that. So, and I promised you guys an Excel sheet, right? So I did put it up. I did put up the Excel sheet. So if you go to my web page, kaluaja.org, you would see the financial calculator there. You can plug in there, fill it out, type in your expenses. It's already formatted, so you can do your expenses, your income, your balance sheet, your cash flow. It will do lots of stuff for you automatically. So you just go in there, plug it in, do your expenses, it's gonna do your assets, it's gonna give you lots of results. What it does for you is that you see what you're doing, you see where you are spending money, you see if your passive income can pay for your lifestyle, and if you are earning too little or if you're spending too much. You also see the type of assets that you have. Are they generating income, or are they just interest bearing liabilities on the other side, right? So it's a very, very good exercise to do. If you do it, then you have a question. Just screenshot the question you have, send to me on a DM. I'll take care of it for you. You're going to screenshot that stuff and say, this is what I found. It's giving me this number. Is it good? But I've told you guys the overall plan for you, right? Your overall plan is to make sure that your passive income, the income that you make when you are not there physically, can pay your expenses. That's your long term plan. Your passive income has got to pay your expenses. And we've done a space on that. So the Excel sheet is right there for you guys on that website. It's also on my handle. You can see it there and grab it and run with it, right? So that's for that. If you do have a question again, you can ask here. I'll of course answer. And also on a bit of housekeeping, I did write this book. Let's talk about your money, and it's on Amazon, exclusively on Amazon. It's self-published, but Nigeria doesn't get on Amazon. So if you're in Nigeria, you can't log into Amazon and get the book delivered to you in Nigeria. So we did print a lot of copies and we brought it into Nigeria. That's what we were selling, retail in Nigeria. And so I was surprised myself, presently surprised myself about the acceptance. We've run out of stock, guys. We're completely out. All the stuff I printed that I brought in locally from Amazon, even the stuff I printed locally in Nigeria, it's all gone. All the books are gone. So if you go to I used Roving Heights bookstore. They are wonderful. Shout out to Roving Heights. Wonderful folks, right? I used them. They did a great job with my distribution, but it's all gone. And I'm not sure I'm going to do the retail buying and selling again. So that's where we are. So if you want to get the book, it's on Amazon. I'm not sure we're going to do the Nigerian print again to sell, but just apologize and also thanking you guys for all the support. I was blown away how that book was received, and I really, really am grateful to all of you that bought, not just for yourself. Lots of people bought and bought a copy and said give it to anyone, and I gave lots of books out for free and all that. So I do appreciate that. So that's done. Let's really jump into this credit thing, right? And why I'm doing this, this is the one question I get a lot from people. People say, I'm leaving Nigeria, I'm going to go to Canada or to the US. I want to buy a house, or what should I do with credit cards? There's a lot of, there's a knowledge gap in credit products for Nigerians. That's because Nigeria is not a credit economy. When you go to the West, it's a credit economy. Everything runs on credit, everything, right? So when you go there, you will make some mistakes because you just don't know. It's not because you're irresponsible, it's just that you don't know how credit works and how you should take advantage of credit. So I've done this over and over again. I wrote a very, very good article. If you can Google it, right? How an immigrant can buy a house in 36 months. I give you step by step. Just Google my name. I think I wrote it on Nairametrics. How an immigrant can buy a house in 36 months. I'll also put it up on the space for you guys. It shows you step by step how you can use the structure of the West, to get income. And why are you buying a house? Because wealth in America, in the West, goes through home ownership. That's how it's set up. When you own a home, you have what's called equity. And equity is the value of your house. Let's say it this way, equity is the difference between what your house is worth and what you are owing. So if you buy a house for 100,000 and the house is worth 150,000, you have equity of 50,000, and you can borrow on that equity of 50,000. And those loans are typically loans for 20 years. So imagine if you can get, it's like someone giving you a credit card for $50,000, but you can pay over 20 years. So your per month payment is very, very, very low. That gives you emergency funds to start a business or to buy a second house, to get education, whatever you want to do. So you see that if you own a home, you have access to capital. That's what that equity is, it's capital. So I'm not trying to be racist, but the white folks have more homes, hence they have more equity, hence they can transfer more assets to their dependents and to their children. The minorities in the West do not have as much homes as the white folks. Hence, they do not have as much access to credit or assets, nor can they transfer those assets to the next generation. So, home ownership is the pathway to wealth in the West. That's how you become middle class. You own a home. And they made it easy for you. You don't have to buy, in Nigeria, one want to buy a house. If the house is worth 50 million, you have to get 50 million. No ifs, no buts. But in the West, you can buy a house with 2% down, 2%, 3% down, you buy a home. It's in your name. If the price on the home or the value of the home appreciates, it's your appreciation. You are going to pay the bank a fixed sum over 30 years, but the appreciation is yours. They made it easy for you. You can get a loan, a long-term 30-year mortgage. You can buy that house and you have equity. You're a homeowner, right? But how do you buy a house? You've got to have good credit, and that's what we want to talk about here. How do you have good credit? So I don't want to make it to me talking like, let's put it this way. I know maybe the answers. If you guys have the questions, go ahead and ask. Do your hands up. I'll plug you in. You can ask, then I can answer, and that way we can learn. But let me also just give you an overview of credit, how it does work, right? Credit scores, it's called, you see the FICO, 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 the Fair Isaacs score. That's your credit score. In America, you've got three numbers that are very, very important. Number one is your social security number. Very, very important, right? Number two is your zip code. Where you live in America determines where you go to school in America. So also very, very important. But I think the most important number you can have in America is your credit score. Credit scores go all the way from 450 all the way to 850. So there are companies that track how you spend, how you borrow money and how you spend money. And that's how they give you a credit score. So for instance, Expedia, right? They're a credit scoring company. When you take a loan, they track how you use your credit, how you spend, and how you repay. And based on how you use that product, they give you a score. When you go to a bank to apply for a loan or to buy a house, the bank will pull your credit score. And that credit score, the higher it is, then the lower what we call your APR, your annual percentage rate is. So if you have a higher credit score, then you have a lower APR, or should we just make it easy, interest rate they're going to pay in a house. Which means if two folks go to buy a house, right, and I have a higher credit score than the other person, I will get the loan, he will get the loan, but I'm going to be paying a lower interest rate than the other person. So I have more money left over simply because I have a good credit score. So of course, we have to walk back to the answer. How can you get a good credit score? That's what I want to teach you guys here, right? How can you get a good credit score? To get a good credit score, number one, you've got to borrow money. Sorry, guys. In Africa, we don't borrow money, live within your means. It doesn't work like that in the West. You've got to borrow money. If you pay your rent or if you buy a phone and you pay your phone bill, that's not a loan. So it doesn't show up on your credit score. Don't blame me. I didn't make the rules. I'm just telling you what the rules are. So you've got to borrow money, which means you've got to go to a bank and get a personal loan. Even if you don't want a personal loan, get a personal loan of $500 for 2 years. The monthly pay is nothing. Pay that personal loan on time. So, number one, you've got to get a loan. That's number one, right? But how do you get a loan? You've got to get a job because you got to show that you can repay that loan. So, let's go back again and start from the top. The first thing you want to do is to get a job. Why? You want to get a job that pays you a salary and it shows up on your bank account. So if you work for your mom in America, you've got to tell your mom to pay you with a pay stub, what they call a W-2. Sorry, I'm talking all American. In the UK or in the West, I'm sure they have those same things, but it's the same principle. If you work for your parents, don't just say your dad gives you money every month. No, tell your dad you want a pay stub or he should pay you your salary to your bank. And it's got to show there as salary. Very important. Why is it important? Because you want to show income, consistent income coming into your account. Even if you're a housewife in quote, or you're a house husband in quote, and you are the person at home, let your partner create a company. Then you work for that company and then let your partner pay you a salary. Let that salary come to you as salary, as W-2. So it shows up on your bank account that you're getting a salary. So instead of my partner giving me an upkeep allowance every month, no, you create a company, just open up an LLC, and you can call the LLC Kalu LLC, right? And you, as an employee of LLC, your partner will then pay you salary. What's that salary for? To buy cornflakes, to pay for the house, and all that kind of stuff. So it's the same thing you are doing, but you're doing it in a institutional way, right? So you get your salary through the W-2 or through the pay stub. That's the income. Then you go to the bank and say, oh, I get income every month of $1,000 a month, right? I want to get a personal loan. They might not give you a personal loan. So ask for what's called a secured loan. Write it down, guys. Secured loan. Secured means that you give them your money, then you ask them to loan you back that money. It sounds silly, right? So if you want to get a secured credit card, you give the bank, say, $500. Then you tell the bank to give you a credit card of $500. Why are you doing it? Because now the bank has no risk, so that they're not worried about you not paying. They know you're going to pay. So you give the bank $500, then you ask the bank to give you a loan of $500. So it's your money the bank is loaning back to you. But why are you taking that loan? Because number one, you have your income showing up as income to the bank. Number two, you now have a loan showing up against your name that every month you've taken this loan and you are paying back. Which now brings us to number three. Number one is you want to get income. Number two is you want to get a loan. Number three, you want to pay that loan back on time without fail, without delay. So when you take that secured credit or that secured personal loan from the bank, you want to pay it back without fail. If it's on the 10th of every month, you pay back on the 10th of every month. What you are creating is called a credit history. So you have a job, the job pays you an income, the income goes to your bank. Then you go to the bank and you borrow money from the bank, $500. Could be a secured personal credit card or a secured personal loan. You borrow that money from the bank, then you make your payments back to the bank. It's the same your money you are paying back. It's the same money you are paying back. But the bank will not report to the credit bureau that it's your money. The bank will simply report that you borrowed money from them and you paid back. That's all the credit bureau wants to see. So when you do that for 1 year, you have created 1 year credit history. That's what they want to see. How do you get a good credit score? This is now number four. I'm repeating myself so that you guys follow. Number one, you get a loan. Number two, number one, you get a job. Number two, you put the income from the job into the bank account. Number three, you get a loan. Number four, you repay the loan. Number five, you get two types of loan. So if you did a credit card, you do a personal loan. Or if you did a personal loan, you do an auto loan. You want to spread out the types of loan you have. So you have different types of loan. If you can do this for 24 months, your credit score goes up. It doesn't matter how much you borrow. What they are interested in is how consistently are you paying back that credit. So if you're a Nigerian, and I'm not trying to be sexist, let me use if you go abroad, and let's say you are a partner to a Nigerian living abroad. So you get to America the first time, right? You don't have a job yet, and your partner wants to give you money every month. So let him create a company, LLC, sole prop, it doesn't matter. Create a company or a structure, or you create a company or structure. Let him pay you to do the job. So if you are cleaning your own kids, if you are helping out, pay yourself childcare. So it's going to come to your account as childcare, or it's going to come to your account as administrative assistants. That's what you are now. You are this administrative assistant working at home, right? So you get that income. It shows in your bank W2 that you are earning income. You are earning income. If you are cutting the grass, don't let your father give you cash and say, hey, enjoy. No, let your dad pay you a salary through the bank to your account. When it goes to your account, you go back to the bank and you say, hey, I have income every month because I have a job, I cut grass. Can I get a personal loan? They might tell you, well, we can't give you a loan because you have no credit score. Then you say, okay, I want to get a secured credit card or a secured personal loan. Go to a credit union. If the banks won't listen to you, go to a credit union. You get that personal loan or you get that credit card. $500, guys. The idea is you take that credit card, you buy gas. That's all you do. You just buy gas. Every week, you buy a $50 gas. Let me give you a trick. When you use your credit card, please don't pay everything down. We want to establish you are making credit. So if you swipe for $100, pay 90. Let that 10 enter next month. So that you took a credit of 10, Abby. Then next month, pay that 10. Then swipe a new 100, pay 90. Let the 10 enter next month. Don't do this Nigerian thing. You want to buy car, you pay cash down. Americans don't like cash down. The West does not like cash down. Don't do cash down. Even if you have the cash to pay for the car, pay 99% cash, take 1% loan. Let it record against your name. So you have the income, you have the cash. So you have the income, you have the credit, then you pay back on time. You do that for 24 or even 12 months. You have built up your credit. The other thing you must do, pay taxes. Pay taxes. Even in America, it's very funny. Even if you are not a citizen, you can pay taxes in America. And you are expected to pay taxes on anything in America, including illegal activity. Sorry, guys, it's funny, right? So, when you are in America, go and look for an ITIN, individual tax ID number. You don't have a social security number, B, you're not a citizen. Go and apply for an ITIN, individual tax ID number. Apply for an ITIN, pay your taxes. Don't say if I pay taxes, they will catch me. Pay your taxes, keep it in one corner. So now let's recap what we've done so far. You're in America or wherever you are. You have a job because you are cutting grass for your dad. Your dad is paying you salary. You have income going to the bank from that salary. You've taken a loan from the bank from that salary. You are paying back no failure with that salary, right? Then you are also paying taxes. Five things. You're also paying taxes. Once you do this, if you do this for say 24 to 6 months, you will have an absolutely high credit score. It's $500, but your credit score is going to be high. Because how do they calculate credit in America? This is now the secret now, right? So if your credit score is 100%, 35% of your credit is based on your payment history. That means If you pay your loan, that personal loan on time every month, you've got 35% already. If you have a credit card and they give you a credit card for 1,000, make sure you do not have a balance on that card, meaning you don't take the balance over more than $30. So if it's $100, 30%. You don't want to carry over more than 30%. So because once you carry more than 30%, it sort of dinks you. So if you can keep that card at, say, below 30%, you earn another 30%. So paying on time and keeping your credit card at below 30%, you earn 65% already. Already. 15% is the length of your credit history. So once you get into America, if you start with this program and you start to borrow, you already earn part of the 15%. The longer you have a credit card, the longer you have a credit history, the longer your higher your score would be. So you don't ever cancel your first credit card. Even if it's bad, your first credit card, leave it. Just buy coffee every year and just pay. Leave that one because it's giving you 15% points, right? Your credit mix is 10%. Remember I told you when you have a credit card, you get an auto loan, or you get a personal loan. The mix of how you're using your credit is under 10%, right? That's how you keep your score up. What kills your credit? Number one, you don't pay on time. And number two, you go and request for credit. So I'm not being contradictory. I'm asking you to do a credit spread. You do a credit card, you do a personal loan, you do a car loan. Say over time, not you do a personal loan in 1 year, next year you add a credit card over time. What you don't want to do is to go to this store, that store, and get those store credit cards, get credit cards from here, get credit cards from here. The more you inquire for credit, the more it pulls your credit card score down. So if you when you go to the store, America, they tell you, oh, you can get a 20% discount if you apply for a store card. Don't. Do not. Leave it alone. Get one credit card, stop there. The more you apply for any type of credit, the more it pulls you down. Because you're going to be recorded over 6 months, over 12 months. So when you apply for lots of credit inquiries over 3 months, it pulls you down, right? So you have to spread it out. So if you simply pay on time and keep your credit card below 30%, you're already at pass mark, 65% already. It's very, very easy to do. If you do this for 24 months, then in your third year, based on the income you have, you can then go and apply for a mortgage. But I'll stop here because mortgage itself is on the different animal. This also want to talk about credit, the basic credit rules for you, how to get it, how to use it. Because we're not used to credit in Nigeria, right? So people don't want to borrow. I don't want to borrow. I want to pay everything with cash. Don't do it in America. It is a credit economy. You use the system of the Romans when you are in Rome. That's what you do. All right, guys, let me stop there, right? I want guys to ask questions. I don't want to just keep on going on. So if anyone has a question or clarification you want to make, shoot, and I'll be glad to take your questions, right? Just give me a request and I'll put you on. I don't want to keep on going on. I also make sure you guys are also following. So let me go to my DMs, they never fail, and see what you guys have sent to me over there. Some guys don't want to talk, I get it. So they always send me a DM. This is a good one. Someone is asking great question, right? If I have a $500 credit card, can I spend the whole $500 then pay it back to zero by next month? Yes. It doesn't do anything to you if you max out the credit card. But you must make sure, because credit cards work is when you swipe on the first, they give you time. You've got about 22 days or 30 days to pay. If you swipe the card for the full amount, what they want to see is that on the day you are to pay, how much is still on that card. If you have less than 30% on that card, you're doing well. So if you swipe the card, try to pay down that card to minimum 30%. I would advise you to pay to 99. Like I said, take that 1% to next month, register that credit in your card just so it works in your favor. If don't do this, people will tell you don't keep a balance. I'm not sure about that. I would say if you borrow $100, pay 99, let that $1 go into your account for next month, then pay that $1 off, just so it's registered you used credit. The more you use your card, the more you get a high, your usage ratio goes up. You want to ensure you do not carry more than 30% over. Credit cards are dangerous. Why are they dangerous? Because they want you to pay just the minimum. If you pay just $2, $2.5 when you spend $100, the credit card company will tell you are fine. So the credit card sets minimum amount that you pay very, very low. This is to encourage you to spend. So if you go to a store and you have a credit card bill of $5,000, you only need to pay 2.5% every month to be okay. But that's the trick, because if you only pay that 2.5%, you're in a debt trap. You would never get out of it, guys. So what you want to do is to be disciplined, right? If you get that card, you spend, but you pay down to 30%. What kind of credit card should you get? That's the second question. Great question. That's from Ibrahim. What kind of credit card should I get? Should I go for the one with low interest? Should I go for the one, what kind of credit? So good question. When you want to apply for a credit card, right, I like the cards that give you points or rewards, right? So if you guys know Costco, if you go to Costco, you use their card, you buy their gas, they give you points, they give you back cash at the end of the year. So you pay to shop in Costco, but when you buy things in Costco, they give you back a cash back. When you buy gas, they give you back cash back. Those are cool cards to have. Or there are many airline cards that you get an airline credit card, but when you buy groceries, you get points on the card. So those points help you when you want to buy a ticket back to Nigeria, you get a discount on your cards. So if you want to get a credit card, you might as well go get a points card. So that way you use, instead of using your debit card, you use your credit card, do all your transactions, then you simply pay off your credit card. Then you get the points for free. So whatever, let me make this point again to you, whatever interest rates on the card, if you can pay your credit card to a 0%, they don't charge you interest. So you only pay interest on the credit card if you have a balance. If you keep your credit card at zeros all the time, then whatever the interest rate that is advised to you, that's the APR advised to you, you would never pay interest. But I'm saying when you are starting out to build your interest, don't pay zeros. Pay like the 2%. Take it to your next month. Register that credit into your credit score so that it shows up on your report. So when the bank pulls your report, the bank is going to see this guy is borrowing money. What they see is you paying. They don't see how much you borrow. They don't see what you paid back. What they see is you paid back on time. So they will see excess. If you pull your credit score, you see excess. You see he paid on time, the ticket, and they give you a good score, right? Most banks now give you free credit reports. So you can go to a bank site and pull up your credit report and get it. And there are also sites you can go to, like Free Credit Report in America, and get the actual credit report, not just the FICO score. You get your actual report and you see who has pulled your credit and how the bank has scored you, why they are scoring you high or why they are scoring you low. So that's another good thing you can do, right? So this is, I'm talking the good side of credit. If we're going to, hopefully we're going to get to the bad side of credit. I'm going to talk about that and how you can get out of a credit gap if you have it. Why are you guys shy? Why are you guys sending messages? No one wants to talk. So again, so the personal, you said get a personal loan. Okay, yeah, let me explain that personal loan again, right? If you go to America for the first time or you're just starting out, because you don't have a credit history, it might be hard for you to get a loan. So most banks offer what's called a secured loan. It could be a secured credit card, it could be a secured loan. What they mean is this: you give the bank your own money. So you put money in the bank, then you borrow that money from the bank. The banks know the game you're playing, right? But the banks want that free deposit. So you go to a bank, you give the bank $500, then you apply for the bank that you want to get a loan of $500. So the bank has your cash already. It gives you a loan of $500. So it's making interest of no risk because it already has your cash with it. So the bank is okay with that. Why are you paying that extra interest rate to get that loan? Because when you take that loan, you just set up automatic payments back to the bank. those payments go back to the bank, it records against your credit score. That's what you want to do. You are taking that loan so that you get a record on your credit report to this credit scoring company. It is the credit scoring company that tracks how you are using your credit, and that's what gives you a high interest, high credit score. So if you get good question again, what's a good credit score? A good credit score, you have excellent, good, and maybe fair. Any score that is from 760 and above, that's excellent. What does that mean? That means if you want to borrow, you borrow at the lowest interest rate that the bank will charge. If you have, say, 700 to say 760, that's good. Again, you borrow at a good rate, but might not borrow at the rate that the bank would offer, like to their best customers, right? So anything below 750 all the way to say maybe 730, 720, that's average, and that's okay, that's average, right? So once you start to go below 630, that's poor. You want to be at 7. You want to be at that. Just use 7 as your magic number. And you can get to 7 if you borrow, pay back on time, and keep less than 30% on your credit card if you do a credit card. That's it. There's no magic. It's really that simple. Credit is not based on your income, it's based on your behavior. So if you pay your bills back on time, you get a good credit score. Simple, right? Okay. Should I take a joint how okay, he's asking here, should I take a joint credit card with my wife? Do we both get the same credit? Okay. He's asking, right? If you're a married couple, should you go to the bank together and get a credit card? I.e., will the credit, that's what I'm understanding with his question. Will the credit score apply to both of you? It depends on how you set it up with the bank. If you are a joint user, so when you apply for a credit card, it's going to be a primary credit card holder, there's going to be a joint credit card holder. If you're a joint on the card, then yes, both of you will share that credit score. If you are an authorized user, then the authorized user will not get the credit score. Let me explain with examples. If I'm married, right, and my wife just came to the States or to Canada, and I want to give her credit, right, what can I do? I can simply go to the bank and add her to my credit card. So if I add her to my credit card, they'll pull her credit. We'll have to do a new credit application. They pull her credit. We'll get a new credit card. She will benefit from my credit if my credit is good. So both of us now have one card. If I use that card and I travel, I buy airline tickets, I do whatever I'm doing, the person sitting at home, the partner at home, will also benefit from the high credit score because it's a joint credit. So if you're a joint user on that card, you get good credit scores because you are going to leave off the credit of the higher credit earning person. I see lots of parents in America. What they do, they put their kids on their card. It's dangerous because your kid can take that card and just spend. But what they do is that they put their kid on their card, then they take the card from the kid and they cut the card up. So the kid is getting the good credit, but he can't spend money because it's the dad spending the money on the credit card. But the kid gets the credit because he's the joint owner of that credit card with his dad. So the guy just cuts up the kid's card and throws it away. So the kid gets the card. But there are also some cases where the kid wants to go to say, France for school. He wants to travel to France for schooling or whatever, right? So the parents will bring the kid to the bank and be like, I want to put this kid on my credit card, but as an authorized user. In that case, the kid will get a card. He can spend emergency money from that card, but he doesn't have any credit on the card because he's just getting access to his dad's credit card. So in that case, if you're an authorized user, you will not get access or you will not get credit scoring from the purchases that the primary person makes. You're just an authorized user. But if you're a joint, you can get that reward. So good question there. It's important to know how to read those things, right? Very, very important. Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Something they can't hear me. There's no mic on the space. Really, guys? You guys have no mic on the space? Oh, okay. I'm not sure. Olumide, can you hear me? Olumide, can you hear me? Someone said you can't hear me, that there's no mic on the space. Olumide, you can't request to speak? Olumide, see if you can request to speak. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, someone just requested, yeah. So you can hear me. Okay, so explain, okay, yeah, someone just, oh, what's going on? All right, I'll add a speaker. Yeah, I'm adding folks now. People can, and lots of messages, maybe people are shy. Okay, the key is discipline to pay back when due. So this is the point I'm making. Yeah, Clara, I can. Yeah, Olumide can hear me too. Yeah, so Henry, the mic is on. Yeah, people can hear me. So log out and log back in again. Sorry about that. Yeah. Okay. So guys, again, remember, somebody's asking me to emphasize to you guys that it's all about discipline. I've already said that credit cards are based on behavior, not income. It's based on your behavior. If you pay back on time, your credit score goes up. It's not how much you earn, it's not how you spend, it's your behavior. So it's not free money, but you have to use that system. You can't go to America and be like, I'm not going to take credit. It will hurt you. Even if you have the cash, run it on credit. Even if it's 1% credit, do that. It works for you. Salah, did you have a question or were you just helping me to log in?
I'm just trying to get the system work for you.
Oh, super. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think people are shy because I can't keep up with the messages, but I have no I have no request to speak. But I think people are just thank you so much. I appreciate that. So let me just answer this question. Please, is there a way I can partake of the credit system to buy a mortgage in the US while I'm in Nigeria? Yes. Let me put it to you this way, right? If you have a lot of money, you can buy a house in America from Nigeria, and the US government will give you citizenship. How much do you need? I think you need, if I'm not mistaken, $750,000. I may be wrong. So Google it. But there's a visa that exists for rich people, lack of a better word. If you invest in the US, either you create a business or you buy a house, you can get a visa, and you don't even need social security. You don't need social security to get that loan because you are a high net worth individual. That's in America, and I'm sure it exists in Canada and the rest. So the answer, Ms. C, is that yes, if you live in Nigeria, you can partake. But the problem is this: you have to have money to partake. So it's a system that is designed for rich people. If you do not have a social security number, or in America, what they call an ITIN number, you cannot get credit. You have to have a social security number or an ITIN to get credit. That's why I said, when I said my 5 points, my first point was you want to get a job that pays you income to your bank. Number two, you want to take that job that pays you income to your bank, go to the bank and get a loan. Number three, you want to pay that loan on time. I said you want to also pay your taxes. Get an ITIN. If you're not a citizen, pay taxes on the income that you make. It's very important you do so. So ITIN will record your taxes, and you need those taxes to help out. So pay taxes, get the loan. It all adds up. Taxes have no relationship to your credit score, but you're going to see why taxes are important when we go into mortgages next, right? So I hope that answers your question. Then somebody explained to me, 500,000 will get you a visa, 1 million will get you an investment residency, and it will be a minimum of 5 to 10 years. Thank you so much, Mr. Anyway. I appreciate that. So he's clarifying the figures to us. So if you have $500,000 investments, you get a visa. If you have 1 million, you get investment residency. So yes, you can do that in America, but it's for rich people. But if you don't have that amount of money, you really can't participate because you need a social security or an ITIN to get a loan. You can get a bank account without a social security in America today. You can get a bank account without ITIN or social security, but you can't get a bank loan or a loan product without that social security or ITIN. So good question. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Carlo, what if you have $500 on a credit card, but you don't close out that amount every month? Let me say it this way, right? If you cannot keep your balance at below 30% on the credit card, then it's hurting you. So there's no point you taking a $500 credit card and keeping $300 on the credit card. It's going to hurt your credit. It's the reverse. If you keep less than 30%, it helps your credit. If you keep more than 30%, it hurts your credit. So don't live off your credit card. I know it's easy to say, but hard to do. Don't live off your credit card. Your credit card is what you want to buy gas, pay back almost immediately or after 1 month, right? Don't live off the credit card. So if you have a balance higher than 30%, that means that you are hurting your credit. As a matter of fact, it's almost the same as you not paying. So try not to do that. It will really hurt you, right? It really hurts you. So try not to put a balance above 30% on a credit card. I'm new to this whole credit card scheme. Thank you, Justice. We're all new to credit cards. We're all new to credit, right? That's why we want to understand how it works. Don't take a loan without at least understanding how credit cards work. Go online. There's Google, there's YouTube. Read it up, watch videos, learn all about it before you do anything like that. Give me a quick sec, guys. So, Olivia, do you have a question? All right, guys. So let's just, I see this is very interesting that you guys are very comfortable sending messages, but not to speak on credit. Interesting. Okay, taking that into limit. Yeah, I got you, bro. Added you in there. Yeah. So very interesting. What's the possibility of investing in a property of about $20,000 if you have cash saved but live outside the US? I'm not sure you. So I don't know what you mean, but if you want to invest in property in the US, there are many ways you can do that, even with $10. That's investing, right? Because if you go to most of these apps, even apps from Nigeria, I know I know Chaka is SEC regulated. I know Cowrywise is SEC regulated. I think Bamboo just got their SEC registration. Those are Nigerian apps. If you go to those Nigerian apps, search for REITs, REITs, search for REITs. There are some that I do personally. I'm not sure if I should mention it, but when you buy those REITs, right, you are investing in a US property, and you are getting the dividends. So you are co-sharing or you co-own that property. So you can do that even from Nigeria. You don't have to be in America to invest in American property. But the 500,000 that we're talking about is if you want to go live in America, you want to move to America, you want to buy a house, the house itself. So if you have $500,000, yes, you can get the visa, and if you have 1 million, you can get the investment residency. This is for America. So if you have that high net worth, if you're a HNI, you can get that kind of visa. Canada also has it, I'm sure. I'm not too clear about that country, just only America. So yeah, but it is available and all that. Olimide, what's up, man?
Yeah, good evening, Chief. Very interesting conversation. I just got carried away. I gained one or two things uniquely from what you spoke about, but I just have one or two questions. First of all, um, with what you spoke about, why haven't we, though President-elect spoke about the fact that they were going to look at consumer loans for the middle class and um, the lower class. How do you see these things working in Nigeria, and what's your take on the fact that consumer loans exposure in Nigeria, particularly on the retail side, it's quite lower than many markets?
Mm. Well, that's a great question, right? So I heard the candidate back then say that he was going to boost youth, was going to basically do this sort of like credit system in Nigeria where you could buy a house, buy a car with credit. That takes a lot. I mean, it's a good plan, but it's going to take a lot to do. Why can Americans offer you credit? Why is it easy for America to offer you credit and have a credit economy? It's because they have a national identification system that works. So in America, when you are born, you are given a social security number. That number, as a baby, they don't take your biometrics, right? But let's say you want to go to school. They have your information there. You go to school, they take your social, it's plugged into your school, right? You graduate, you want to go get a driver's license, they take your biometrics, they take your picture, they have your driver's license. When you go to the bank to open an account, they're going to ask you for ID. What's the ID you bring? Your social security and your driver's license. So the bank has got, quote unquote, your biometrics through the driver's license. They have your picture, they have your social security. If you want to take a loan, when they pull your credit, they have that social security, because every time you took a loan, the lender attaches that loan to that social security. So they can see who you've taken a loan from since you were born. They can see it. They can see how you've paid back. It's a lot of information that they have in their hands simply because they are tracking you from the day you were born. So data, having biometric data that can identify every human being, is the first step to credit. It's not the way we look at it that it's a financial thing. It's really that Nigeria does not have, as of now, we're getting there, but as of today, we do not have the database, clean database where someone can go into and say, who is Olumide? If Olumide says Olumide, how do I know Olumide is Olumide? How do I know? Olumide has to bring his BVN. Good, his BVN has got biometrics, so that's good. But if someone else says Olumide and doesn't have a BVN, then I only go with you because I have your BVN. That's the way to go. So before we can do credit for every Nigerian, the biometric and the identification side has got to be top notch. We now have NIN. NIN is supposed to be our own social security, right? If once you get NIN, you should not do any other type of biometric. You shouldn't do the passport biometric or driver's license because it's the same thing. That's why in America you see cars driving around with tinted glasses. Why? Because they don't need to see you. If they see your car, from your number plate, they can tell who you are, where you live, where you work from your car number plate, because it's all in the same database. This car is registered to Kalu that lives in this place and works in this place, blah, 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 blah. That's what they can see. But here, so road safety has database, passport has database, INEC has database, BVN has database, NIN has database, pension has database. These are all databases in Nigeria. They're not talking to each other. So it's a great, great, great thing that the guy wants to do, i.e. the president-elect, right? But he has to do the data side first. Once you get the data side, all this credit is not the problem. There's money in Nigeria. But we have to know that if we are lending to you, who are you? And then we then register your collateral. You know, in the past, people would go take one house and borrow loans from 10 banks with one house. Now we have collateral register. That is making it easier. We also have now credit scoring companies making it easier in Nigeria. So we're getting there. But we have to accelerate NIN and BVN. You know, we should collapse it all to one. BVN is excellent. Maybe NIN should take over. Once we get that Olumide, then we can start doing credit scoring. The second thing again is the mindset in Nigeria that we have to pay everything by cash. You know, as long as we have a cash economy, you can't have a credit economy. You can't have it both ways. You see, you can't have it both ways. You have to develop an economy where, because I earn income, I can get an asset. What's the point if I earn an asset, but what that asset is salary, but then I can't buy anything if I don't have the cash at hand right now? It doesn't make any sense. You know, my friend is here on this space. I see she does a lot of like videos where she says, buy this gadget, buy that gadget. To buy that gadget, I once shopped on Amazon. Someone came to visit me, right? I needed a blender. I didn't have a blender. I can't cook. So I ordered a blender. It arrived the next day from Amazon. You can't do it in Nigeria. I talked about my book on Amazon because there's no credit. Why is Amazon not here? Amazon is in Egypt, is in South Africa. I think it's in Kenya. I'm not sure. My book is sold in those countries. People buy my book on Amazon in Egypt, in South Africa, and in Kenya, but not in Nigeria. Because how will Amazon collect their payments? Yeah, it's true, Limde, it's true. How will they collect their payments? So when we do all this in cashless banking and all that, we have to come back to the basics that there is no way in the past, at least, to identify who Kalu Aja is. Anybody can say he's Kalu Aja. We are now getting to the point where we can say with biometric that Kalu is Kalu. After that, the credit will take care of itself. So that's, I think, the first two things. Number one is identification. Number two, we have to have a system where we are able to factor our income. If you are a salaried employer, why can't you get credit? But you know, and Olumide, you would know this now, but you know how many Nigerians since 1960 have ever accessed the bank credit? Do you know the number? It's less than 3%. Less than 3% of Nigerians since 1960 have ever accessed credit. Just imagine 1, 2, 3% of Nigerians have accessed a bank credit. I'm quoting EFINA. So that just tells you, this cash, I get it, there's cash banking, we are suffering with cash, but cash is not going to take you anywhere. We've got to go to factoring incomes and then move to credit economy so that we can expand. The SMEs can borrow money and expand and all that. And then any comeback, Limde?
No, you brought the answers well properly. But one more question. So with the fact that if you look at our non-performing loans, Nigerian banks, recent data from CBN says that is less than 5%, even the benchmark, and I think it's around 4.2%. That tells you that banks definitely can go aggressive on this kind of loans. But with the growing interest rates hike in the United States and the risk being calibrated, do you see it coming to emerging market? Despite you rightly spoke about the advantages of having consumer having this kind of services because it boosts businesses, and also it doesn't allow those in need to just pay for bulk. They could spread cost over a period of time. But we're in an era of where liquidity risk is now becoming high. You see what's happening in the United States, and the fact that banks, the CBN, different central banks are also tightening liquidity. Do you think it's a time where these kind of options are viable, or would you advise that we properly get our data right after the census? Because some pundits believe that Nigeria is not 200 million based on what we see in the election and things like that. So, what if you are a policymaker, particularly, what are the key benchmarks you focus on, and how do you see Nigeria in the next 5 years towards consumer loans?
Yeah, Olumide, I can write the census today for you, and I'll be correct. Should we do it? Let's take a bet. I'll write the census today. I won't put the final numbers, but I'll give you the percentage for the regions. And then let's check it when the census comes out. If I'm not correct, I will pay you $100. As I write the census, I'll tell you that Southeast will have this percent, Southwest will have this percent, Northwest will have this percent. I won't put the number. If I'm wrong, I give you $100. Do you know why I'm saying this? Because it's a joke. The census in Nigeria is a joke. We allocate census because the census are political. We're not doing the census because we want to get the number of people, their ages, where they live, how they make an income to allow us to plan. We are doing this because we want to share money. The way Nigeria shares money is 40% goes towards equality of state, which is nonsense. Then 30% goes towards population. So as a state governor, if you want to get 70% income from FARC, just be a state and post high population figures. So you'd be a silly state governor not to boost your population figures. The rigging in census is more than whatever you guys even imagine or allege is happening in INEC. So the census are nonsense. And unless we have a really, really, really good census, then we can't get a handle of what you're saying. But let's go back to consumer loans, the question you asked, right? The reason why consumer loans are not working in Nigeria is that you cannot have consumer loans paying double digits. That's not how it's supposed to work. If I buy a laptop and I'm paying 25%, then what is that? That's a debt trap. But if I buy a laptop and I'm paying 2% consumer loan of my laptop, then it's something now, right? I can buy the laptop. I'm not worried about the payment that much because it's affordable to me. I particularly like these guys that are doing this buy now, pay later. I spoke to a guy, I want to bring him to my space, buy now, pay later guys. that are allowing Nigerians to buy things and spread out that payment. You know, it's still interest, but because you are spreading it out, it's a bit affordable than going to the banks and buying a fridge and paying 27%, 30% for generator. Who can afford that? So the cost of capital has got to fall for consumer banking to make any sense. Nobody's going to borrow at 22% to buy a fridge. We'll buy ice block during party, but we won't buy the fridge. You know, and you've got to take away that cost from life, the simple things in life. How much is blender? How much is fridge? You know, how much is generator that you have to go take these huge loans for? If loans were 5% and for 5 years, it makes sense. That's really one thing that's really pulling it back. We now have the credit scoring companies in Nigeria. I also want to bring into the space that score credit in Nigeria. So we're getting the blocks in place. But the biggest block is the cost of capital. The cost of capital in Nigeria is too high at 15, 17%. That's the MPR. It's too high, Olumide. If you walk into a store in America, you can buy either you pay low credit or you buy now, pay later. That's how they boost consumption. An economy that does not consume will die. That's why Canada is asking you to jackpot to Canada. They want you to go to Canada and consume in Canada. And how do they get you to consume? They give you credit, they give you low interest loans. So you can buy a house, you can buy clothes, you can buy food, and you are consuming, and then the Canadians are making a tax off you. That's a country, right? So if we don't think deliberately, even cynically about this, we're not going to get anywhere. So cost has to come down. And of course, we have to have a proper census to know who we are, then identification. We do this straight, then we want the right party. To happen in 4 years, that's why we have a long-term plan. We don't want someone that will elections every 4 years, then you change things. Have a long-term plan everyone agrees with. Everyone agrees with the census. Everyone agrees with lower interest rates. So it's not political. Have a long-term 10-year plan, like what China does, and then work towards it. Whoever is there would work towards it, right? And then we can get some movement. Let me hang in there. Let me just get Obianoju to hop in. Obianoju, hi. Thanks for staying on the line. What's up?
Hi, Kalu. Hi, everyone. Good evening. How you doing? Oh, anyway, good morning, good evening from wherever you're dialed in. Okay, so I do agree with quite a number of things, and okay, just to also mention that I think for most of the registrations being done now, especially when when you have to do a government mandated registration, NIN is now compulsory. I think for passports, for IDs, most IDs, driver's license, you actually have to submit your NIN. So I think with that, it will make things a lot better. However, I also believe that if they want to get information or they want to work things out, they can really do it, because there have been people who they have to go, maybe people who have gotten into the wrong bad books of government and they want to go after them. They actually get the information when they really want to get it, and they get those information and go after those people. So I know that they have this information. However, being able to utilize it or being able to unify this thing is actually where the major problem is. Now, coming down to credits, talking about credits for Nigerians. I'm struggling to see how the average Nigerian who struggles to put even just a meal on the table would be able to foot this. Now, let's take, for instance, the loan sharks. A lot of people actually live on loans. They take loan from one loan shark to one of the lending platforms, and then you take from another to pay the other one. And they keep going around in this circle. Some people have actually been, and of course you find people being harassed. Family members send messages to family members to try to get them to pay back this money. Now, these are people who are struggling to make a living. Now, putting credits or giving them credits, how are they still going to be able to pay? To be able to pay off their loans? Won't it still be the same circle of a similar thing like what is happening with the loan sharks right now?
Yeah, I get great question. Let me answer the second one first. Let me do the first one you asked. Sorry about that. So let me give you a scenario. If you want to get a passport, let's say you live outside Nigeria and want to get a passport, you have to get an NIN. That is true. You have to go get your
Absolutely, yes.
But guess what, right? When you go to the NIN office, they take your biometrics, they take your picture, you sign. When you get to the Nigerian passport office, they will do the exact same thing, and you pay for the exact same thing. Why are you paying for biometrics twice? They already have it in NIN. Why can't they simply upload that biometrics to NIS, so the NIM, right? So it's N and N, Nigerian Immigration Service, Nigerian National Identity Card. Why can't they just talk? Because they want to make revenue. Nigerian Immigration wants to make revenue, so you charge it for biometrics. NIM still wants to make revenue, so charge for biometrics. That's what's going on. It's a revenue game. Road safety wants revenue.
Okay, so Kalu, just to point out, I think maybe yes, for people who have crossed a certain age, yes, maybe there'll be no need to do that. But for biometrics, I think maybe for people who are in their teenage age, young adults, I think it is also to be important. To make sense for these records to constantly be updated, because of course there are facial features that may have been changed. Children who, like my kids, I had to do NIN for them when I needed to update their renew their passports, but they can't unprint themselves. So of course, meaning that when they get older, they have to do that. So all of that information will have to be being updated.
Just so you follow me, hear what I'm telling you. I'm not saying a year after. I'm saying in the same office. If you go to Atlanta, in the same office, the Atlanta Nigerian Embassy, beside it is an NIN office. Beside it, you go and do your NIN in that office beside the embassy. You pay for biometrics. Then you cross the street to the embassy and you pay for biometrics. Same day. Same exact person, same day. You pay twice. Or same biometrics. Talking about. Why? Because all these agencies are revenue-generating agencies and they all need income. Doesn't make any sense. Simply have NIN as the social security where you upload your biometrics to. What will change? Your fingerprint will never change. Your face can change, but your fingerprints or your retina would never change. So upload that guy and then just go anywhere and get a license or passport, because you already have a biometric that can never change or can never be hacked. See, that's what I'm talking about. It doesn't make any sense. That's the first part. So if you remove that, you remove the cost of getting all this stuff, then the cost of living sort of falls. We have to make the government work for us by making the costs fall. We can't do this revenue, Nigerian ports, everything is revenue, so it's too much. That's number one. This thing about credit, right? Look at it this way. If you did a profile of a young person anywhere in the world, younger people have lower income when you compare them to older people. Why? Older people have more experience, so they can earn more than younger people. How can a young person buy a house in Nigeria? It's impossible. The only way young people buy houses in Nigeria, apart from stealing, right, is that they go buy land. Then they do this over 20 years. They'll fence one side, do foundation, wait 5 years, fence one side. So over 20 years, they build a house. That's how we build house in Nigeria now. That's how we do it. You buy land in one swamp in 25th roundabout in Lagos. You buy it far away, then you start to build slowly. But America has to say it's a better way. They say, listen, young people can buy a house if they have credit. Now, a young person has no income, so we'll give him a loan to buy a house. What's the collateral? The house itself. What else is the collateral? His income. So he earns an income, he pays the mortgage. What if he loses his job? Well, we sell the house. What if he gets a better income? Then he sells that house and moves to a bigger house, and that house is available for a next person to buy. So they have created this system over the years where, as a first-time home buyer, you can buy an apartment, you can buy a little flat, you can buy something and start off there. You have equity. The house appreciates, you sell, you take your equity, you buy a bigger house with that same equity. You give it back to the same economy. When you live in New York, you retire, you go to Florida. That is cheaper. You sell your house in New York, you move to Florida. In Nigeria, no one leaves Lagos when they retire. They all move to their village, but they all keep a house in Lagos. You go to all the Ikoyis, the Ogudus, the estates in Lagos. You see empty homes. The kids don't live in Nigeria. The parents live in those empty homes alone. Those parents should be living in the village, in their country home. But it's not safe, and there's no medical care there. So there's a lot that needs to change in Nigeria for mortgage to take off. It's not just to build the homes. But if you go, like I live in Ogudu, go to Ogudu, beautiful 5-bedroom mansions everywhere, empty. Kids are abroad. If you go to in Abuja, those estates are being converted. There's a guy that does it. He takes those 5-bedroom and he converts them to 1-bedroom self-contained, and he rents them out, and he makes a lot of money from the rentals. That can happen in Lagos too, right? But you can see what I'm talking about, the structure of the country, the demographics, how we live, it's all wrong. Loans, to answer your question, loans would allow the young people to even make more money because they're not taking their hardened assets to pay all cash today. If you are a young guy, 25 years old, you got a job in a bank. Bank is high paying, in Nigeria, or high paying. You have to choose between looking good, buying a car, or living in a good house. You have to choose. You can't buy a car and live in a good house. You must either you buy the car and live in one place, or you live in one place and you enter BRT. Why? But you have a good job. But if you take all those, your house, your car, your clothes, your education, you put them all in one loan, and you see that loan is going to be for 30 years, this guy's income is going to go higher each year for the next 30 years. He will pay it off. A loan at single digit for 30 years to a Nigerian young, hardworking lady, she will pay it off. And that's the advantage the guys in America have over the guys in Nigeria. A Nigerian in America can take equity from his home, $50,000, come to Nigeria, build a house, put a Nigerian in that house to pay rent, go back to America and live on the beach. Nigerians can't do it. Not because there's no land or house, but because there's no equity. Equity is from loans. So you have to have low cost loans for young people to get on the asset ladder. You can't buy a car with savings in Nigeria now. You know that fella song, my friend won't come buy fan. In they save, making they save and save. He nearly bought the fan. Every time he nearly bought the fan, government announced second tier. That's fella 1970 is the same thing today. You cannot save in Nigeria to buy any asset. It's impossible. So you have to borrow, buy the asset, and hope the asset appreciates faster than the cost of your loan. Does that make any sense there? Do you have a...
Yeah, you did. You did.
So I'm not asking people to take a loan. I'm saying in a country like Nigeria where interest rate is 17%, which means that the asset price, how much was my first car was pure water. I do what pure water is again now. You know what pure water is. My first car was pure water. That pure water car today, if you bring it out today, is worth more. I bought that car for 24,000 naira. 24,000 naira. Honda pure water, 24,000. Today you can't buy the tire of that car. After it's true now, you can't buy it for 24,000. Buy a tire for 24,000. Is the car better today? No, it's just inflation. So if I was saving to buy a car, when would I buy the car? But if I had a car loan, I could buy a car, Abi. Then if I get salary increase, I can maybe sell that car, buy a new car, take that selling car and pay off the loan, get a new loan. So we laugh at Americans, but that's their system. Which life do we want more? Which life do we want more? Why should young people not... We're celebrating Netflix. Why should we not, as young people, enjoy the life of this life? Why? Why must it be you must save, go to church, pray, make yourself look penury to buy a car? You buy a car, you go to church. Pastor, pray for me, I bought a car. But I get it, but really? You have a good job, you've done your own bit. Why can't you buy a car in Nigeria? What is a car? You have a job, oh. We're not saying you are a lazy guy. You have a job, you work in a bank, but to buy a car is testimony in church. I don't know, man. I don't know. All right, Obi. Thanks, man. Let me get Okolo in here. Okolo Nioma, how you doing? Let me read my messages. I don't know why people are shy to speak.
I'm fine. Good evening. Not that we are shy to speak. No, I'm fine.
Okay, you see I have so many messages on credit. I want to do this, but they don't want to. I get it. But go ahead, Okolo. Yeah, go for it.
Good evening, sir. It's not that we are shy to speak. We are listening to what you're saying. You're actually making points and all that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want it to be one way. Yeah, go for it. Go ahead. You got the mic. Go ahead. Okolo, you got the mic. Go ahead. Okay. Did you want to speak or?
I want to speak.
Go for it. You got the floor. Go ahead.
I'm coming. It's going on and going on. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I don't know. I'm coming.
All right, so she's going to come back. So I'm just talking to this guy on the chat, and he says in Netherlands, lenders don't use credit scores to rank debtors. Instead, they look at the borrower's income and experience in repaying debt. I don't want to misconstrue, but what does that experience mean? The experience is your credit history. Credit scores are based on your behavior. What's that behavior? How you pay back a loan. They're not interested in how much you borrow. They're interested in how you paid back what you borrowed. That's the behavior you're talking about. So it's the same thing we're saying. So you are not ranked on your income. You are ranked on how you pay back what you borrow. If you borrow money and you pay back on time, you get a higher credit score than someone that borrows and has a higher income but does not pay back on time, right? And he said something very interesting here. He says his credit score from the Nigerian Credit Bureau was accepted by a Spanish bank. Please, Henry, tell me name of the credit bureau used in Nigeria, just so in case people want to know. He said your credit score from Nigeria was accepted by a Spanish bank. So please let me know the credit bureau you use so I can say it here in case folks want to go and also use that. That's also important. I want to end with mortgages. So we'll get to mortgages, but I have more guys I want to ask questions. I've got CKNA Father 1. How are you doing, sir? Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. I've been following your conversation a lot lately, and it's always so nice to have this kind of space where we discuss this kind of issues because it's so sad when I see the debt trap going on in Nigeria where people are being maneuvered, people are being tricked into this kind of debt trap. And I live in Germany, and I feel like for the government needs to step in order to make these issues become um, more suitable for the people. For instance, if people have existential problems, I have a kid, and I am also still studying, and I can still take care of all my bills because they like you said, they make the loan for those ones who couldn't who cannot afford some who are not so financial stable to be able to deal with problems that are kind of like life um, life based or existing base. And in this kind of stuff, if the government doesn't make way if the company if the government lets people come in and just set up whatever they want to and not try to help the people, and also the make and also the banks are not really being well regulated, I think this problem will continue and people will continue going rampant. Especially this institution will continue doing what they are doing. And I feel like if there's not a a way that it is being regulated, I think it's going to be an unending
I hear you.
problem.
I hear your question. I hear where you're going to. You're talking about regulation. You're talking about, I get that,
Exactly,
I completely
exactly.
get that. Yeah. So like the Nigerian loan, the loan sharks in Nigeria are really, most of them are just criminals. It's just real criminality, what's going on in that loan shark. I'm not, I think so, I'm talking about the unregistered loan sharking. It's criminality, nothing loan sharking about it. This is basically mafia tactics. They are calling people. I mean, I can't even repeat what they do here, but they are doing it because there's a gap in the economy. There's a gap in the economy where a young person that has no criminal record, that has a good paying job, cannot get a loan to buy a car or to buy a fridge. That's why they're doing what they're doing. So if I want to buy a assets and I have nowhere to get a loan from, I'll go to those guys, and that's why they're there. In America, they also have loan sharks, but loan sharks are for the guys that have very poor credit, have very have misused their credit scoring, So they need those loan sharks because nobody else will lend them money. But if you look at the quality of guys that go to loan sharks in Nigeria, it's normal people. You know, your next door neighbor guy. You know, he just needs 20K because his mom is sick. So he borrows 20,000 naira. Then they make him pay one ridiculous APR. And it's a loan trap. And then they have multiple outlets. So you borrow from the same guy, but from 10 different outlets. And they just keep on rolling you over at a higher interest rate. So a bit of regulation would help. But the ultimate thing that really help is to ensure that Nigeria creates an economy that really is productive, that is able to get capital flowing into Nigeria that people can borrow from. That, I think, is a long-term objective. If the economy is booming, then the cost of capital should sort of fall. But as long as we have this disjointed economy, it's very, very hard. Let me explain Nigeria in a proverb. Let's say you want to make salad. If you ask anybody, how do you make salad? What will they tell you? Well, to make salad, you just take eggs, you take peas, you take lettuce, you take carrots, you take all that, and you put on a plate, you put salad sauce, and you have salad. That's really not it, right? To make salad, you need farms, you need power to put the fridge in the fridge so it won't go bad. You need logistics, you need a loan from the bank so that the lady that makes the salad can pay for staffing. What I'm trying to say is this, right? Nigeria is trying to get to the end product without building the blocks to that end product. You can't have banks where you don't have identification. Neither can you have credit where you don't have a system where people cannot identify themselves or do not have a minimum wage. Those things have to be built first of all before you then start offering low income houses to people. So we are sort of like, we like the sound bites. I'll give people loans. But the hard work to do, we really don't know how to do that. Nigeria has got about 14 trillion. The pension fund administrators have got tons of assets. That's the best policy since Nigeria was created. The pension fund guys, that's one of the best policies since Nigeria was created. We've got savings, long-term savings, but only about 10 million Nigerians are saving. And they are very, very young Nigerians, which means they can save for a long time. Now you have in same Nigeria, you have low home ownership. Young people in Nigeria don't own homes because they can't afford it. Anyone you see, a young person in Nigeria below 30 that owns a home, is either it was a gift or he got a loan from his company, or sadly, he stole money. It's one of these guys. Either it was a gift, he got a loan from his company or a bank, or he stole the money. So, but it's normal that a young person should have a house. So when you come to the pension fund with their large assets and you have young people with no assets, why don't you link two of them? Why don't you say if you are working and you have money in the PFA, you can use your money in the PFA to buy a house, even if it's a flat. Then you can, when you sell that house, you sell it to a market and you move up a ladder. So I move up a ladder. I buy face me, I face you. Then I buy a 1-bedroom flat. Then I buy a 2-bedroom flat. Then 3-bedroom flat. Then I go to a duplex. Then from duplex, I go back to a 2-bedroom flat in Abia. That's how the property market works, right? Financed by long-term funds from the PFA. So we should have a rent-to-own scheme. This is how it's done. It's not rocket science. It's done. We're not inventing anything new here. Just copy what has worked in America, bring it here, make it Nigerian, take a few things away, add a few things, and then start to do a pilot project in, say, Rivers or Lagos, and then see if it works, and do the whole thing. So if we're not connecting the dots, we're not connecting the good things we have, which is a young population and a lot of money in the pension funds. We're not connecting it together. We've just started now. I commend the PFAs and the PENCOM. They've started now to say if you have money in your RSA, you can take 25% as a loan, as a down payment. That's a good start. And we should celebrate that, right? But we can do even a lot more with that. All that is credit. And I'm making this house relationship because it's how you get wealth. There's no other, the whole wealth in the world revolves around real estate. That's why it's called real estate, real money. That's really what it is all about. It's the Spanish word, the real, the king, real estate, right? And once you don't have a home, it's difficult to get wealthy. You can trade, you can do all that, but For the middle class, your home is your wealth. This is the middle class, not the Dangotes. What's the middle class? Your home is really the source of your wealth. I've just shared on my timeline, right? My step-to-step article I did on how you can buy a house in the US in 36 months. And it's like I said, guys, it's not really that impossible. I give you step by step how you can do it. I said, number one, you get a paper trail. Number two, get a bank account in the US. Number three, you get a job. Number four, you pay taxes. Number five, you apply for credit. It's there. Simple. And I put all the stuff I've said in here, credit scoring, all that, it's all in there, guys. So I just put it up on the Twitter page. Go grab it and use it. There's nothing I'm giving this knowledge I'm giving you, you pay for it. So I'm giving it to you guys. It's not free. People pay me to give it to you. I'm giving it to you. So grab it and run with it. Like I've told you, if you go to my website, .org, you get the expense sheet there. But yeah, you grab the information and run with it. I have a good question here. For those that paid after the agreed date, i.e., for those that paid their credit card after the agreed date, is there a way they can boost their credit scores to get on that loan? Marius, as long as you are paying your credit card on the agreed date, as long as you are making those payments, right, your credit score is going to keep on going higher. The idea is they are tracking how well you are paying your loan. So if your loan is due on the 11th and you pay a loan on the 11th every month consistently, then your credit score is going to keep on going higher and higher. It's not based on your income. It's based on how well you pay. Olumide, what's up?
Yeah, interesting conversation. I just wanted to ask a question and wrap it on. You brought in an very interesting insight on how real estate markets work in United States, and understanding that real estate is even one of the greatest metrics for wealth. Like you rightly said, and if you look at China, for example, 1/4 of their GDP, real estate takes a large a chunk of that. So in Nigeria, if you have an audience with policymakers, how do you think we can tap into the real estate market? Because if you look at pension funds investment in Q3 2022, you see that most of them are government securities. The stock market is just taking about 5%, and real estate about 1.9%. How can we push that up? How can we push it up to maybe 10%? And also, secondly, the Land Use Act, the laws be governing properties and all those things. I understand reforms need to be taken for foreign participation, but another question again that really bring a lot of concern, particularly Nigerians in diaspora, is that you get easy swindled in the real estate market in Nigeria, and that's because it's not regulated, properly regulated, and these things really cause a lot of discouragement across mid-tier investors, particularly young Nigerians that are trying to put in. So, what advice do you have in those space?
Are you saying a Nigerian wants to invest in, say, US property from Nigeria?
No, a Nigerian diaspora that is thinking of buying property in Nigeria and the real estate market in Nigeria, how the government can really push these things to what we are seeing in China and United States.
Got you. So right? So you mentioned about the pension fund guys, how they invest their money. Their money is mostly in government bonds and treasury bills. You see government, then they do some private bonds. The reason why the PFAs don't invest in real estate is that there are no real estate investments for the PFAs to invest in. Let me say it again. There are no real estate investments for the PFAs to invest in. The way it's supposed to work, the PFA cannot go and buy a house. Because they buy a house and they want to pay pension, they can't sell one room to pay the pension. They have to buy securities that own the house. So how it's supposed to work is this. If you have an estate, say in Delta State, you have a big estate and you don't have money to build that estate, you can do what's called securitization. Talk to your banker, he will explain it to you. So you say, okay, all these homes in that your estate, maybe you have 500 homes in that estate. You build them, then you charge them rent. Then you tell your bank that all of you will pay rent to the bank. All that rent is what's called a security. So you securitize that rent into a paper. So you say whoever buys this paper gets the rent of this estate. Then you break that paper into 100 naira. So when they pay their rent, maybe they pay their rent every month is 10 million. You break that 10 million into 10 million paper. So one paper is 1 naira. That's what the PFAs want to buy. The paper that has the rent of that estate, not the estate. But why don't the developers do that? Developers want to build a house and sell the house and make their profit and go. You can't blame them. I had a guy here from a real estate developer, and he says when they take a loan to build a house, before they finish building a house, the cost of building a house is more than the cost they agreed to sell the house. So they're making a loss. So he said it's better for him to borrow money, build the house, and sell the house quickly and move on. So you see the problem. So the developer wants to build and sell. The PFAs want to buy the house that will be paying them rent, because that is like a bond. That's a stream of income. And they're not enough in Nigeria. If you go abroad, like I can give you a name of an ETF, ARRARI. That's ARRARI. Massive company. What do? They buy residential property and they buy commercial property. You can, from Nigeria, buy into those companies. They are paying dividend yield above 10%. From Nigeria, you can buy it. But from Nigeria, you can't buy the ones in Nigeria to earn commercial or residential or income. So again, it's a process. They have built an economy around mortgage refinancing. Mortgage refinancing, very, very important. Banks should not be holding mortgages on their balance sheet. So a bank will lend you money, you buy the house, then the bank will package that loan and sell it immediately to a Nigerian mortgage refinance company. One exists. Have you heard about Olumide? I'm sure you have, but how many mortgages do they have on their books? That company should be the one buying mortgages. So if it is buying mortgages, you see lots more developers will say, okay, I'm going to invest in this house in Delta, build 500 homes and rent them out, because whatever happens, I can sell this mortgage to that mortgage finance company and get my money back. That's what Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac does in America. So you see, there's this, they've built the infrastructure. What we say is Nigeria, they've built the structure to enable credit and mortgages. We haven't in Nigeria. The government shouldn't be building homes. It's too expensive. What the government should be doing is to go to a piece of land, clear the land, clear 1,000 plots, take power to that plot, take road to that plot, take water to that plot, and sell the plot and move on. Don't waste your time building low-income house in Oyo. Build the plots, sell the plots. People will go there, then get the loan, 25% initial from their PFA or from a bank, then they'll build a home. The PFAs can also go and partner with developers that will take that land, build it, rent it out, and then the PFAs get the rental income. Government is too slow. How long does it take a government to build 1,000 units of a housing estate? It takes too long. But if they are simply doing sites and services, get the land, clear it out. That's all they need to do, so that if I am investing, I know it's government land, title is not a problem. Once I buy that title, I know it's mine. That's how you start to drop prices. You see, Soweto. So I always thought Soweto was a place. Soweto it's a slum. It's Southwest Township. It's not a place. It's Southwest Township where the poor black workers lived and couldn't go to Johannesburg. Go back there now. South Africa has built tons of low-income homes there. Nearly 1 million homes since they took over power. They made housing a social contract. They're not making profit. You can't make profit with affordable housing. That's why the government does it. So you can't say, we'll build a house, we're going to make profit. No, LSDPC should not be making profit. It should be building homes and giving it away, because you can still tax those homes from the guys that live there. They will still pay for power. They will still pay for water. That's what you should be doing. Not you build homes, you sell. No, you don't have that time. Build land, do the sites and services, hand it over to developers, because you've reduced their cost, then they can take it over. To your last question on who to avoid scams is titling. If you go to America, everywhere, again, we're going to America again, you see titling companies. When you want to buy a house, you don't deal with the owner of the house. You deal with the titling company. The titling company will go verify title, transfer title, and give you a guarantee that should this title fail, they will pay you. So it might be a good best idea for someone in Lagos that will say, I'm going to create Lagos title. They have Chicago title, they have New York title, create Lagos title, and you have a partnership with Lagos State government. So if you want to buy land, they're not going to sell land to you. All they do is this. If you want to buy land, they will go to the seller and they'll go to the buyer. The seller will bring out the title to them. The buyer will bring his money to them. Once they verify title, then they transfer payment. So you don't have to worry about anything. And if the Lagos State government can create such a company, that's jobs. You can create a Ikeja title, you can create a Lekki title, and these guys will really want to verify title for any transaction. So no more Omonile, no more let the village people sign. No, village people will go and sign with title company. You will sit down in your house and sign with the title company. You don't have to see them. So there's no machete in bush. They are going to verify land in one bush somewhere in Ofada. No, do all that in title company. You buy your land. If title fails, title company pays you back your money. You go. I know a community in Lagos where what they do is they sell one land to 20 people. They target people that live abroad. So when you guys all come back, you'll be fighting, but they're in a hotel somewhere. But titling will reduce all this. It creates less friction. It brings in productivity. That's how you get real estate working. Again, let me go back to my salad example. We are looking for the salad. We're not worried about the power for where the fridge, where the lettuce will stay. We're not worried about the farming. We're not worried about the productivity. We just want the salad. You can't have affordable housing without titling, without mortgage refinancing, without cheap mortgages, without ID verification, without credit. All these things have to be done. And they are not sexy. They are very, very boring things that you have to do before you can get a mortgage sector. If young people don't get mortgage, they're not going to be rich. All these ones, they'll come and tell you, we're going to give you keke marwa, or we're going to give you wheelbarrow. They are never going to be rich with that. Your job is paying you income. Your income is depreciating by 17 or 21% in Nigeria. The only asset that in Nigeria that can hold its value when there's inflation is real estate. Real estate. It doesn't give you money, it just holds its value. So why else would you not be screaming in Nigeria that you want real estate if you're a young person? What is crypto? You should be fighting for cheap, affordable homes. You don't need a 3-bedroom duplex in Lekki. What we need in Nigeria is 1 and 2 bedroom, built to the sky. That's what lives in Lagos. 1004, build 10. House price in Lagos will crash. If house price in Lagos crashes, that's a pay rise to everyone that lives in Lagos. These things are not hard now, guys. It's not hard. Okay, Olumide, I hope I answered your question. Let me go back to my
So guys, thank you. Yeah.
The guy responded, right? So I'm talking to my friend here from Germany. He says he used his CRC credit bureau credit scoring to get a loan in Spain. So that's interesting that the Spanish bank accepted a Nigerian credit bureau thingy for him to get a loan from. So very interesting. I would love to speak to CRC. If anyone knows them and wants to present on my space, please, I'd like to talk to them so they can explain to us how to do Nigerian credit scoring. That really helps everybody. All right, guys, let me do this. Let's do the mortgage one. Then we'll maybe call today, right? We have about 30 minutes to go. Let me just explain the mortgage one to you guys. We've talked about credit cards, the personal. I just did credit cards today, and I didn't touch credit personal loans. I didn't even touch business. Let me do the mortgage one for you. And I'm sorry, it's really targeted more at the new Nigerian guys leaving, or the guys that are going to leave Nigeria to go abroad. This really help you. There are some things you have to do first before you leave Nigeria. So I'm talking about buying a mortgage now in America in 36 months. So let's start with the first thing. And I put this whole article on my Twitter handle. So if you go to my handle, you see there how you can build how you can buy a house in 6 months. The first thing is paper trail. Before you leave Nigeria, no bank in America, especially from Nigeria, is going to accept you just bring cash and give them. They don't do cash there. They're going to be asking you questions up and down. So create a paper trail. If you are selling your assets, pay to your bank. Pay the cash to your bank. Establish that it went to the bank, right? If your mother or your father or your uncle is going to give you money to buy a house in America, don't take the cash to America. Pay the money into your bank account, right? Pay it into your bank account. You know the reason why. paid it to your bank account. Establish a paper trail. If your employer gives you money, and gratuity, thank you for working with us, blah, 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 pay into your bank account. Get a letter from your father or your mother or whoever is giving you this money to say this is not a gift. You are not going to pay it back. So if your employer gives you gratuity, make sure you get a letter from them saying this money we're giving you is to say thank you to you. It's not a loan, it's not a gift. You don't have to pay it back. Even your parents, make sure you get a letter saying, I've given my son a gift of 10 million naira. I don't expect it back. I'm just blessing you. Very important. So they don't do parents over there. That's one. So you establish a paper trail. That's the number one thing you do. Number two thing is you want to get a bank account in the US. When you open that bank account in the US, remember I've told you can get a bank account in the US without social security or without even an ITIN. You just need residency and identification. I don't know if I should off the mic when I'm saying this one. So when you go to America, right, go to the library, get library card, go to the gym and register for gym. Use your name, let them post your gym receipt to your name. So your name is there, your gym address is there. That's identification. Go to library, same thing, your name, your address is there. You've got 2 forms of ID. Abi, do those ones first. Go and get, some states will give you driver's license in America, even if you are not a citizen. So go and get that one, right? Then you go to the bank, you open a bank account. When you open a bank account, you transfer the money from Nigeria to that bank account. Paper trail. All the money your parents give you to buy the house, you put it in bank account, right? They'll ask you, where's this money from? You say, it is from my parents. This is what they gave me. You show them. You are establishing that this is where the money came from. Put it in that bank account. Don't invest it. Don't go and start buying shares or doing crypto. Put it in the bank account. Ask the bank for certificate of deposit. That's what they call fixed deposit over there. Get a certificate of deposit, put it in there. You can do a money market if you want to, but look for something that at least has got some decent yield. That money should be there for at least 24 months. Don't jump, just follow what I'm saying. 1, 2. So you've done the paper trail. Number 2, you put them on the bank for at least 24 months. Then get a job. Get a job. Very, very important. You get a job. Why? You want to get verifiable income. What's called the W-2. You want to get verifiable income paid via direct deposit to your bank account. So you also go and start to pay taxes. So your number 1, paper trail. Number 2, bank account. Number 3, you get a job. Number 4, you pay taxes. Then number 5, you go get your credit. We've talked about credit a lot. Go get your personal loan. Go get your secure credit card. $500. Oh, I'm not saying you should go and get simple, something small that you can use to establish credit. When you do all this for 24 months, what do you now have? Number 1, you have proof of income for 24 months. Number 2, you have tax payment for 24 months. And number 3, you have shown source of funding. Because I doubt your 24 months may be able to afford you a mortgage, but you've shown that you have proof that the income is there. You apply for a mortgage. The first house you buy in the US, don't buy your dream house in the US. No, buy the house that you're going to rent out. That's your first house in the US. Buy a house in a location you can rent out, because that's not going to be your dream house. So you go and look for a house that has good rental potential. It doesn't matter if it's an apartment. Let me clarify this. If you have kids, you buy the house in the school district you want to go to. Because in America, you have to go to school where your kids live, right? So if you want to target that school, you buy a house in that area. But if you're a young person or you're just starting off, you just have a girlfriend or boyfriend, then buy the house in where you can rent out. That's going to be your first house, right? So you go apply for a loan. What would they look for to give you a home loan? Credit score. So if you have done this usually for 24 months, you have a credit score of above 700. Very important. Number 2, you have proof of assets to pay your down payment, because you need to pay down payment. The more you pay for down payment, the less you pay for the loan. That's what you're targeting with your proof of income and the money you put in the bank from your parents. So you apply for your credit, you have a credit score, you have your down payment, then you apply. If you don't have a down payment, they're going to make you pay what's called PMI, primary mortgage insurance, which means you're going to pay insurance not to yourself, but to the bank. So you want to avoid that if you can, right? you apply for the loan, you get the house. If you get the house within the 36 months, right, which is what I've said in the plan, then you have a house. What happens next? You live in that house. When you then get married, or you then know, okay, you now have gotten yourself in America, you then go and look for your own dream house. But that house you lived in, remember you bought the house where you could easily rent it out. Maybe it's an apartment. You don't sell, we don't sell house in America. You lease that house out, you rent it out. The bank will take the income from that house and pay off your mortgage, right? And any extra you have can go into your new application as a new form of income for your new house. So you then take that, you rent out your existing house, you go now move into your dream house, which could be the house where your kids are going to go to school. In America, again, remember, you buy the house in the school district you want to live in. You don't go and buy a house because it's nice. You buy the house in the school district you want your kids to go in. That's how they buy a house there. Not, we don't buy 4-bedroom in Lekki. We buy the house in Ikeja because we want our kids to attend GRA Ikeja. That's how they do it. So you buy that house. And when your kids have no longer going to school, then you sell that house. You move that house and then you move to a cheaper part of town, maybe Florida, maybe Texas, where it is cheaper. You have your 2 rental income running for you. If possible, say if you come out to Nigeria, you are now earning dollars, rental income dollars, and you can move back to Nigeria and just live as a, just be a big boy. Happy? That's how you want to do it, right? And you want to use the tools that are in place over there to achieve the plan you want to achieve. I've given you the plan. The article is up there. Go get it and see if you can do it. It's not no pressure. You don't have to do it. Lots of folks have other ideas. This is what has worked. This is from my experiences what has worked, and I've given you all the data in there. You can. It's got the same thing in the UK, same thing in the US, same thing in Canada. It's the same process. It's just going to be the names will differ, but this is what works, guys. All right, I'm going to look at the messages one last time, and then we'll call it a day, guys. I do appreciate you guys. You guys have been very, very shy today. But Dozie wants to speak. Let me go back to my messages. And yeah, so do you need to wait 2 years before you can apply for a house? It doesn't really matter, right? What I advise is this: when you go to the bank, talk to the bank loan guy and ask them, what do they need to take your application? They say 1 year, okay, then go 1 year. But most times I've seen that they want to see 2 years tax returns, and they also want to see your down payment. I think if you have down payment, that's going to be the number one thing, and maybe tax and your tax payment. But ask the bank and then walk to the answer. 2 years to me is just, I think it's just the average for you. Gosi, what's up?
Hello, Kalu. Thank you very much for advice and the information. It's really been very enlightening. I really have learned a lot. I just wanted to ask. I understand that this analogy you gave and the model you just gave in regards to this mortgage is mainly for the US. And from your article, I wanted to ask: does this apply to the UK system as well?
Yeah, it does. It does. The names will differ, but it's the same thing. Credit scoring. I'm not sure about immigration how they do it in the US, in the UK. If you can have a bank account without having immigration status, and how so they don't have a social. I don't know about the UK side for immigration, but for the banking, the credit, all that, yeah, it's the same process in any Western country. That's how they run their systems. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I think in regards to the immigrations, like I know, like with the US, they have the Social Security, while in the UK it's the national insurance number. So they're quite alike in some way. I just wanted to know if that same model could be applied, outside the US or in other
In
countries as well.
country in West, same model, yeah. You want to buy a house prices give you equity, you need a credit score, you need identification. It's the same model. The operational names and the methodology might change, but it's the same model. It wouldn't change. Yeah, if Nigeria adopts, it's going to be the same model in Nigeria. Nothing will change. So Canada might say it's called this name and it needs this 1 year or that 2 years, but it's the same overall thing. Get a paper trail, get a job, get a good credit score, pay taxes, buy a house. The house gives you equity, then you can have lots of options, right? That's really what it is. Make sense?
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Thanks very much.
You're very welcome, my brother. Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, so man, these messages. I'm trying to read because some are repeating themselves. I'm just trying to see if I can see a new one. Okay, so someone is asking, so if you don't have a credit score that is good, you can't get a loan? No. You can get a loan with a fair credit score, say maybe 650. Yes, you get a mortgage, but they're going to charge you. You're going to pay more for that, right? Your APR will be high. So the more your higher your credit score is, the lower your cost. Remember, it's a 30-year loan. So if you can get a really good rate, why not just behave yourself, spend less, and get a higher credit score? You have this is like a 2-year examination where you have to be a good boy. Be a good boy. Don't use your card irresponsibly. Pay your bills on time. Pay your taxes on time, and then go buy a house. It's just 2 years, 24 months. You can do it, right? You're Nigerian. You can do it. So if the higher your score is, then the lower your APR is. And I think it's something you want to do because that's basically the cheaper you buy the house, then the higher your equity is. So if you buy an expensive house, then you don't have equity. Abby, remember why we're asking to go buy a house? Because we are linking equity to wealth of the middle class. If you look at that article, I put in a chart there that shows you how wealth is measured in the US. It says the source of wealth across the US. So when you are 11 years to 25 years, you don't have it. Your money is just cash money. Maybe you have crypto, you have share in one bank, just small money. Because you're a small boy, you just have small money, right? You don't really have a lot, right? But when you are 25 to 50 years old, your wealth is based on the value of your house. Then your cash really goes away. So you are house rich and you are cash poor when you're in the middle class, right? You also can have some small business equity because you're just starting, right? Maybe you start a new business. You're just starting that guy. You also have what we call retirement income. So you have your RSA or your 401k is growing. So when you are young, because you earn very, very low salaries and your money has not compounded, you have very, very low retirement income. You have very, very low real estate income. But as you get older, your housing asset grows, your retirement asset grows. And as you then keep on going older, your housing asset will keep on falling, right? But your other asset, your retirement, will also keep on rising. Even your business equity will keep on rising. So the richest Americans make their bulk of their money, right, from a business. The richest Americans have the bulk of their monies from a business income, the richest Americans. And the poorest Americans have the bulk of their assets from just holding cash and all that kind of stuff. So that should show you something. In the middle is the middle class that bring the bulk of their wealth from property. They don't call it property, they call it home equity, which means a home that was built with 1 billion in Abia, in my village in Ohafia in Abia, 1 billion in my village in Abia, has no equity. Why? Because I can't borrow on that house in my village. But I can borrow on a $100,000 house in Florida. You see the difference? They don't say property is wealth. They say home equity is wealth. Because all those homes in Nigeria, some have C of O, some don't have C of O. But if you cannot borrow on that property, it's not an asset, no matter what you call it. If you have a house in Ikoyi and you don't have title, or the title cannot get you a loan, is it really an asset? Question. If it's an asset, it should generate income to you. So if I have a $100,000 house in Florida, I can borrow $10,000 from that house in Florida. But you have a $100 million house in your village in Onitsha, but you can't borrow $10,000 because no bank will lend you money in a village. Then is that house really equity? It's not. And that's why we are not as rich as the guys there, even though we have more assets. We're not interested in the asset itself, but the equity we can get from the assets. Hope that's making sense, guys. The property holds value But property does not generate income. I've talked about this a long time before, right? If you go to Lekki, all those homes in Lekki, none is less than $1 million. Point to any house in Lekki. Just point to any house in Lekki. None is less than $1 million. Is how much? Okay. Ooh. $1 million is about, is it 700 million naira? Okay, let's say $100,000. No house in Lekki is less than $100,000 in value. None. But how many homes in that Lekki can get you a loan of $10,000? That's the problem. That's the problem. Equity, debt capital. Is it a CFO or it's expensive to do the loan? So you have a house worth of 100 billion in Lekki, you want to try and get a loan, then they will charge you interest of days, they will charge you bank loan of days, so it doesn't make any sense to you. But I can walk into a bank today, apply for a home equity, and about 30 days I get $10,000. That's what the difference. So in America, the richer demographics own homes. The poor demographics don't own homes. Simple. You do the maths. All right, guys, 10 minutes to go. We've been here for 2 hours. Let me just do a quick scan one more time of the messages. Then we'll let all of you guys go enjoy your weekend. So you guys all get ready for the elections that will happen next week. Let me just take a quick look. Okay, this is a good one. So finally, let me just make sure I get it right. Yeah. So you were saying that if my partner, I'm using partner, if my partner is not working, I should pay the home upkeep to her as salary. Yes, that's the hack. That's what I'm saying. If you have a partner, try to pay your partner like a salary. Don't say, I'm giving you money for upkeep. What's that? So you want to set up a company and you pay salary. If you have a son, let me tell you what they do over here. Let me tell you what they do in America, right? You see this kid, they take their kid when he's 16 years old. They open what's called an individual retirement account. Individual retirement account for the kid. The kid is 16. Then the kid will go and start cutting grasses, either as a job or working in McDonald's. Their kid, 16, working in McDonald's. They take the salary from the kid and put in an individual retirement account for the kid. Maybe a Roth, an ROTH, Roth IRA. When you put money in a Roth IRA, you pay taxes immediately. How old is the kid? He's 16. What taxes is he going to pay? He's paying nothing. So he puts money in the Roth IRA. You can never tax that income forever. So a 16-year-old kid opens up a Roth IRA. He can only put in earned income. So he's cutting grass. His dad is paying him salary for cutting the grass in the dad's own house. He also works in McDonald's in the summer. He puts all his money in his Roth IRA. His dad puts him on his credit card as a joint holder. So the kid has a credit score at 16. No, he has 18. Sorry, when he gets to 18, at 18, but he has an IRA at 16. When this kid finishes from university at 22, he's got 6 years, right, or 4 years of credit scoring. He's got an IRA with double digits in that IRA. Then he starts to work, he contributes more into the IRA. So when you look at this kid at 35 years old and you compare him with someone that kid at 35 years old, this boy has built up tax-free, tax can never be taxed income for the rest of his life. He has a credit score already. So when he applies for credit, he gets a very, 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 very low APR. So when he walks into a bank to buy a house, he has his down payment, he has his very, very low credit. He can get a house cheaper than you. He's a better person to lend to than you. So he gets a loan. So you know our response we say is racism, that are giving that kid a lower loan because of his demographics. It's not. It's simply they have used the tools available there to position themselves. So don't complain. Copy. Imitation is the best form. Copy what they are doing and do it. So all your kids now, when they do anything, you create a company, you put all your kids as employees, you pay them salary. Then you put the salary into their Roth IRA, right? So you open a Roth IRA for your kids. If you don't want to know how to do it, in America, Google a company called Acorns. On Acorns, you can create an IRA for your baby that is 1 year old. You can on Acorns. So you put money in there for the baby. The baby will pay tax. Well, doesn't anything else. He won't pay tax. He has that Roth IRA for minimum 25 years before he even starts to put some money in there. They work, you pay them salary. It has to be earned income. You can't just put money to their account. No, you earn income. You put your child as on your credit card as a user. So when you use your credit card, your child gets the credit as well. Abi? Then your child has credit score, your child has down payment for a house. You've set him up already. You've given him an advantage that 99% of people in the world don't have. That's how you do it, guys. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys go unless there's any last questions here. There are lots of them, but I can't read them all. So if I can, I'll read, yeah, but I can read them all. I can let you guys go. So again, if you want to do the financial planning exercise, go to my page, the www.kaluaja.org. I think it's on financial planning. You see the red thing there. Click in there. You can do your expenses in there. It's all sorted out for you. Just go in there and plug it in there. Yeah. Number two, if you want to get the book, it's only available. My book is Let's Talk About Your Money. It's only available now on Amazon. We did do a lot of prints, and they are all sold out. So it's a good problem that we had, but it's all sold out. So thank you for buying, but I'm not sure we're going to do the prints out again. All right, guys, I'll let you go. It's a lot of information I've shared. I hope it would help, even if it's one person, then I'm good. Next week, we won't have a spaces because of the elections, so I'll give you guys time to go vote. The state elections are more important than the presidential. They are more important because the state guys are the executives. They manage if you leave your house, the road in front of your house is managed by the state governor. Your security, your health, your education are all managed by the state governor, not the guy in Abuja. So very important that you guys go out and you go and vote for who you want to manage your state economy. Very, very important, guys. Yeah. So we'll have the spaces then. We'll see you guys the upper weekend, and then we'll take it from there. With an average score of 650? Let me see. Let me read this. With an average score of 650, you can bring your APR down by increasing your down payment between 30-40%. It's better to have a good score so your equity will be less. Yeah. So 650 credit score is low. It's average, right? And your APR will go up, not down. So you pay more. So for me, I would advise you, the more your APR, the more your credit score, the lower your APR. The more your credit score, the lower. So what I'm saying is that if you have a higher credit score, you pay less. So that's your plan. That's your plan. Save money for your down payment, get a good credit score. That's your plan. And the last one is this. I want to ask how much you charge to host the space for a fintech. Do I charge to host? Yeah, I charge to host. Yeah, sure. I'll respond to you. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Kalu Aja. I love and appreciate you guys. We're all here to learn. And this is what I do. I want to basically increase financial knowledge and inclusion for all of us. And I hope you guys had a good session today. I'll see you guys upper week. You guys do take care, and bye.